ML, and of course, generative AI. So today we'll discuss about what is AI, what is ML, and of course, these are fields of AI like machine learning, deep learning, and of course, what is data science, and again, generative AI. So we'll discuss with a lot of various real-time examples. Fine. So before moving ahead, so let me introduce to you about myself. So my name is Jivamshi, and I'm the trainer here. So I've been around in this field for almost all 18 years into this field. I'm working for Microsoft as an AI research scientist, and I'm from IIT background. And again, so I've been working on for a lot of clients, global Fortune 500 clients, and again, various architecture levels. So okay, so let me not boast about myself. So let us dive into the session today. So what is AI? So this is some kind of buzzword, right? So today everyone is looking at into AI, data science, deep learning, machine learning. Of course, you might have heard about the latest kind of buzzword again, generative AI. Now, what exactly these things are, and again, how do you relate it with various different real kind of examples here? So trust me, guys, let me tell you something. See, directly or indirectly, we are using AI. We do not know that one, but I'll give you various examples where you can relate it with. Or okay, okay. So you can relate them, I mean. So before we move ahead with this AI kind of things, let us discuss first of all the fundamentals part of, the things or the traditional kind of things before to this AI or to this cloud or something. So because today you see there is, so we're deploying every models onto the cloud here. So why cloud again? So we'll also discuss about a lot of other kind of factors here. Now, so before moving ahead, right? All right. So let me show you something. So let us discuss about the term data. Fine, everything starts with data, right? Because see, now even in order to train some kind of AI model, right, you require data, right? So without data, can it answer as anything? Any chat GPT tool or any Microsoft Copilot, Siri, Google Gemini, whatever you take it. So it can't answer anything, right? So data is the real fuel here. But again, so you need to understand the data, the data or the different forms of data. Okay, so how they're actually processed in real world scenarios, we'll try to understand before we dive into AI. So, guys, I request all of you, I mean, just be relaxed. So, we'll go with various kind of examples here. And again, I require at least, 90 to 120 minutes of your time. Fine. All right. So now structured data, unstructured data. So as you people know, based on the data generation, right? So today data is classified or categorized into different formats. We call them as structured data, semi-structured data, all right? And again, unstructured data. And again, we have some other kind of form of data called as stream data, right? So now these are the different kinds of data that we have in this real world scenarios today. Now, what is structured data? So the name itself tells you the data is having some kind of predefined structure here. All right. So data, for example, now if you take some kind of small example, right? So it is some kind of SQL table. All right. So data which is stored in some kind of table format. So it is having some kind of predefined structure, right? Okay. So data is stored in some kind of neatly defined rows and column format here. Now, if you take the case of data, right, what kind of data resides here is, so it's simple, some kind of numbers, dates, and some kind of characters kind of format here. So this is the kind of data that we typically store in some kind of table format. We call it as structured data, relational data. Okay, so people call it by different terminologies here. Now, on the other hand, if you look at some other kind of data like semi-structured data, so semi-structured data resembles something in the format of structured and unstructured. So for example, your web pages, XML, HTML. Okay, so today we are having a lot of web pages, right? Okay, so those are the perfect examples of some kind of structured and unstructured kind of data. And again, on the other hand, if you look at unstructured data, so unstructured data, now today the data generation is much into this kind of format here. Fine. So data which doesn't has any kind of form or any kind of structure here. So it is called as a unstructured kind of data. So for example, you take the case of this notepad, so which we call it as a text file. All right. So this is a perfect example of some unstructured kind of data. So do you think that it has any structure here? No, right? Again, your email data. Fine, your messaging platforms. Today we're dealing with a number of messaging platforms, right? Telegram, WhatsApp, and again, so likewise, there are a lot of other kind of, okay, so messaging kind of platforms here. Social media data, IoT data, all right. So real time, some kind of data here, all right. So which we also call that streaming kind of data. Fine. So search for something over Google search, so some data is getting generated. You actually purchase some kind of product over some e-commerce kind of portals here where the data is getting generated. So through different kinds of apps or something. So you are booking something, okay, so online food delivery kind of apps or something, let's say, for example, some kind of rides here, Uber, Ola, some kind of here, okay. So where again the data is getting generated here. So you're playing some kind of online games, data is getting generated here. All right. So likewise, if you take it, there are different kinds of data that is being getting generated today in various different kinds of formats here. So even let me tell you, so see, for example, so we even greet our near and dear ones, right? So like good morning, okay, so good means whatever it's okay. People also put up some kind of beautiful posters here, right? Okay, so even data is getting generated there. All right. So do you think that it has any kind of structure here? No. Then let me tell you. So have you ever imagined how come this like social media companies like Meta or X, so they're storing your data. So they have some kind of trillions kind of data, right? Okay, so if you take it, more than of course, exabytes of data they're having actually. So how come they're able to maintain all such kind of data? And again, see today, why you need to worry about all these kind of things is how you can even make out some kind of insights from the data about all this kind of data. Now, if it is structured data, right? It is very simple. So there are a lot of tools for this one, traditional methodologies for this one. So for example, SQL, some kind of common language, right? SQL. So I will query some kind of data which is stored in a database table. I can get some kind of information out of that one. Fine. But again, what about this one? Unstructured kind of data. So first of all, how do you store it? How do you even process it? Again, how do you even make out some kind of insights from the data? So that is where the challenging task come in. Okay. So now so because see, why we are discussing about this one is now modern AI systems, if you take it right, now we are into some kind of generative AI field. Now I will divide this kind of AI kind of things into three kinds of I mean uh, things here. So for example, I would call it as traditional AI, and of course modern AI, and the latest one is generative AI. Okay. So we'll discuss about these three things in this, okay, so webinar here today. So what is traditional AI, what is modern AI, and what is generative AI? Now, all these kind of, so AI models have been trained on some kind of data. So whatever it is, fine. Now, if you take the case of traditional AI, right? So traditional AI started its origin in 1950s. All right, 1950s. So where some person named Alan Turing. So he was the popular scientist at that kind of time. Okay, so I'll also show you about him. AI timeline, if you take it right, so you get a lot of things here. Okay, so there are a lot of persons here, but again, see, in 1950s it has actually started here. So the concept was he actually raised this kind of terminology called as machine learning. All right. So where the systems actually worked on some kind of rule-based kind of format here. A rule-based format. Now, what is rule-based? Rule-based means the AI systems are actually trained on only some kind of specific kind of task here and again specific data here. So if you feed it any other kind of data, it doesn't work here. And again, see, let me tell you, AI is not any kind of new kind of thing that we are learning. Only the thing is we didn't add enough kind of computing powers at that particular point of time. Now, if you remember, see, we have all of us have learned something, right? Okay, so computers was, in the size of one big kind of room here, actually. Now we are able to play with some kind of mobile devices, right? So everything is in our hands, actually. Fine. So we can do anything now. Okay. So that is the power of technology now, actually. Okay. So, but think about those kind of times where you had the same kind of technology or some kind of computing powers, no, right? For example, let me tell you in other simple ways here. Now you, go to some kind of retail market and purchase some kind of laptop here. So what are the kind of hard disk or some kind of, sizes you get actually RAM sizes or hard disk? I mean, hardly 2 TB, right? Not more than that one. Fine. So think about 5 years back, I mean, or at least 10 years back, were you able to get the same kind of, things here? Then what about this huge burgeoning kind of data which is getting generated? Okay, so each and every year through different forms here. So there are various domains and industries where the data is getting generated like anything. Now, if you take the case of retail, so we have a lot of retail segments, right? So where, data is getting generated every day, the data is getting generated. Billions and billions of transactions are going on. Again, if you take the case of banking, financial kind of sectors here, so airways and again, stock markets, manufacturing sectors, telecom. Okay, so likewise, we're having different kinds of domains here. Now, how to, so dig out some kind of meaningful information from the data. And again, how do you even actually process such kind of data? Even before you say, for example, today we train some kind of AI models here. Now, even before we train these AI models, right, we have to actually, perform some kind of pre-processing kind of things we call it as. Okay, so it is nothing but so it is equivalent to some kind of data transformations or data cleaning kind of phases actually. Fine. So now let us try to discuss all these things in detail now. So you were the actual person. So at that point of time, now he actually coined this term machine learning, so which was actually purely based on some kind of set of rule-based kind of format here, set of rules. Okay, so I can even call it as set of rule-based kind of format here. Now, for example, the perfect example of this kind of device is some kind of calculator. So for example, now you see, calculator can only work. So for example, what are the instructions or what are the numbers you feed it? But example, any kind of complex kind of things, if you want to find out, it doesn't give you any kind of things here. For example, I want to find out what is the highest prime number. Now, can it answer you? No. Fine. So it is based on some kind of predefined set of format actually. So which it got trained on that particular format here. Okay. So likewise, there are some kind of simple kind of things here. So which were able to based only on that kind of data here actually. Now then, after a lot of advancements in the technological field, and again, so we had this kind of modern AI. So where now we are using this kind of machine learning, advanced machine learning techniques and deep learning kind of techniques. Okay. So before we move to those kind of things, let us discuss some other kind of, scenarios here. So now let me tell you, so you have understood about the data, right? So for example, if structured data, right? So in order to process such kind of data is very simple here. But in order to process this kind of data, we require some kind of complex analysis kind of systems. And again, in order to come out with some kind of insights from the data, so that is where we apply some kind of advanced analytics on the data here. All right. So always all the same kind of traditional techniques or the methods won't work out here actually. Fine. Now again, if you look at the, Gartner, for example, so Gartner is one of the popular research-based consulting firms across the globe. So they perform the research activities in multiple different kinds of things in IT field. Now, as per their research, right? So they told that, so what they came to find out is, so see the amount of structured data, enterprise structured data, so that is being getting generated across the globe, it is only 20% of. All right, it is only 20% of the data that is being getting generated. Now, what about the rest 80% is? Okay, so rest 80% is unstructured data. Fine. And this is where you people are hired in different, okay, so designations here. So especially data engineers or data scientists, machine learning or data analyst. Okay, so these are the different kinds of roles that you people are hired into action. Fine. So I advise all of you people to go through this kind of timeline. So you would at least come to know. So what are the technological advancements that had happened? And again, okay, so there is also one of our Indian, okay, so see, I will tell you about this person also, Sivaswani. All right. So he was one of the persons, so in the GPT kind of research-based kind of era, okay, so which we can proudly boast of our Indian. Okay, so he was the person actually. Okay, so one of the research scientists actually. Fine. So today you people know this chat GPT, right? Okay. So again, now there are a lot of other kind of generative AI tools. But okay, so let us try to understand. So all of you take time and again go through this kind of timeline here. All right. So now let us dive into our topics now. So you came to know about the data kind of things here. Now in the traditional ways, right? Okay, so before even about this cloud here, now everything is cloud because see why cloud, I'll again tell you because we require a lot of computational powers here and again lot of storage kind of things here. Even it is not possible for the larger organizations to store such huge amount of data or come up with huge infrastructure kind of things here. So that is the reason everyone is moving to cloud now. And again, see, let me also tell you now, I mean, see, popular clouds we know, I mean, so as you people also know today, so AWS and again, Microsoft Azure. And again, see, I'll also show you some kind of article here. So, you know, Forbes magazine, right? All of you people. So fine. So this was the article actually. So why today everyone is moving to Azure cloud? And again, what are the advantages of using this cloud kind of thing? So today everything is getting deployed into cloud here. Okay, so go through this kind of article also. So why Microsoft Azure could take the cloud lead from Amazon AWS by 2026. So though AWS is the first kind of cloud player in the market, but again, so you know the power of Microsoft market, right? So they, I mean, once they have joined hands with this, OpenAI kind of organization, right? So where they have rolled out some kind of chat GPT kind of application here. So things got changed rapidly. All right. And again, so they are betting huge into this AI and some other kind of data science and data engineering kind of fields here. So that is why you can see a lot of jobs are propping up in this kind of Azure kind of things here. And again, see, there are also a lot of other factors also why industries are moving on to this kind of Azure or kind of things here. Because see, now, when a company takes some kind of decision, right? So they look into various factors here, not just one kind of factor. The major factor is capital cost here. So what are the expenditure or what are the costs that I'm getting actually in order to run all my implementations here? So Azure, for example, if AWS is costing you 100 rupees, right? Azure is almost all charging you 20 to 30 rupees. So that is also the reason. So why, organizations are moving to Azure because Azure, you see, they have a lot of very good kind of, data resources here, data services also we can call it as on Azure cloud kind of platform. So you can implement that with ease actually. All right. So you have a lot of benefits, regarding this one. See, everything has its own pros and cons. I'm not telling that Azure is the only best here actually. Okay. So AWS might be best in terms of infrastructure kind of solutions like for example, some kind of admin activities, DevOps kind of areas here. But again, Azure is ruling in terms of the data market here. All right. So whether it is data engineering, data science, or some other kind of ML practices here. All right. So you can see the cost here. Fine. So now let us try to understand this one. So I'll give you with a quick example as to why, so we need this kind of data science, again, AI or ML kind of practices today. So I'll give you with some small example here. So just give me a minute. I'll Fine. So let me explain you with a whiteboard, then you can easily understand what I'm want to tell you. So then we can directly dive into the our main concepts here. Fine. So let's say, for example, so now as I told you, data is the real thing, right? Okay, so if there is no data, there is no kind of this kind of technologies today. Okay, so we can't even work. We can't even understand, or we can't even, work in the same kind of thing here. Fine. So let's say, for example, you have been given some kind of sales data, correct? So you have been given some kind of sales data. So let us take, so for example, some monthly sales kind of analysis here. Okay. So where in week one, okay, in week one, you got almost all, let's say, for example, 10,000 in terms of sales here. All right, 10,000. Fine. And again, in week two, okay, so you almost all reached up to 50,000. Okay, 50,000 in terms of sales here. And again, week three is where, okay, so I don't know what is the reason you got only 5,000 in terms of sales here. Now, if I ask you to perform, or let's say, for example, if I ask you to find what is week four sales, what can be week four sales? So what will be your answer? Even before this one, so let us try to analyze in this way. So, see, I take this kind of data, I'll show you in some kind of pictorial kind of format here. All right. For example, now this is week one. So again, week two, fine. Again, this is week one, week two, and again, this is week three here. All right. So this is 10, and again, this is 5, and again, this is 50, for example. All right. Now you can clearly understand what is going on in this kind of data, right? For example, by looking at this kind of image here. So now let's say, for example, so if I ask you in order to analyze some kind of sales pattern, right? Okay, so by looking at this image, you can easily tell me that, okay, so week one to week two, there is some kind of rise in the sales here. Okay, so there is some kind of steep rise in the sales here. I mean, okay, so from week two to week three again, I don't know what is the reason actually. Okay, so there is downfall in the sales here. All right, there is some kind of downfall in the sales here. Now, from by looking at this image, you can easily tell that we are into some kind of losses. Fine. So because see, we need to find out what is the week four sales here. So, but again, if you look at the past data, that is week one, week two, and week three, right? Okay. So by looking at this, we can come to a conclusion. Finally, we are into some kind of losses. Now, the traditional tools can answer you, I mean, or it can tell you only about this kind of pattern here. So, but if at all I ask you, like, what is the reason for these losses? So, what would be your answer? Can you explain me? For example, okay, so let me put the question in this way. So, your VP of your organization or your CEO, for example, okay, so you're working in some kind of organization, think that your CEO has called you and he has asked you. So, what is the reason why we are into losses now? Okay, so what would be your answer here? If you tell him, I don't know, you will be fired here. Yes. Okay. Then how do you explain it? So what is going on in the sales actually? So in order to find out all these kind of things, right? So this is where our AI or some kind of data science or machine learning actually concepts come into the picture here. Because see, there could be multiple factors, right? Because say, for example, I'll tell you with some kind of use cases, real-time use cases. Now, there could be multiple reasons here, multiple factors also why we are into losses here. One such kind of factor could be due to the like say for example the products might have some kind of bad reviews, or let's say for example there could be no sales for such kind of products here, or blah 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 something. Fine. So likewise there could be multiple kind of reasons here. Now how do you find out all these kind of things here? So again, how do you even find out the patterns in the data? So how you need to understand, right? Okay, so in order to predict some kind of weak force kind of sales, right? Okay, so that is some kind of future sales here, future data. Okay, so how do you do that one? So that is where your statistical and this kind of data science kind of practices come into the concept here. Now, even see, now all of us will be watching some kind of cricket, right? So they might be even giving you some kind of projection score. What is that projection score, guys? It is a future value only, right? So how come they are able to give you based on the current run rate and the past run rate? So what are the runs they have scored till now? So they'll take some kind of average on that one and they'll tell you some kind of figure here. And again, see, you might also be wanted. I mean, so they might not given you only one kind of score here. They will give you some kind of three different scores here. So, for example, if India makes, I mean, almost all 8 runs per over, right? So the score will be this much. If it makes 9 runs per over, the score could be this much. And again, if it makes 10 runs per over, right, the score could be this much. I mean, okay. So that is the range that is they're telling you about. Okay. So no one can predict you the exact figure here, but they can tell you the range here actually. So similarly, in retail also, the same thing happens here actually. So if at all we want to find out any kind of future value, some kind of prediction kind of things, right? We can tell you that, I mean, like, so for example, the sales could happen in this kind of range here actually. So this is what I can tell you. But even before that one, so even before predicting that one, you have to analyze the data, right? So that is where your data science concepts and statistical concepts come into the picture. All right. So I hope you people got some kind of idea now. So now let us try to understand our concepts here. So that is why we need to apply this one. For the modern BIC, the traditional BI tools or the traditional processing systems doesn't answer you this kind of questions here. So it is where you apply the concepts of the statistics and again data science and again this machine learning kind of features. Okay, so in order to predict something, classify something, cluster something, or infer something from the data. Fine. So now let us try to understand what is okay, so all these kind of things here, why does it matter actually? And again, what are the real-time scenarios and again, real-time examples that we are able to see right now? All right. So now what is AI? So AI, I mean, all of you people know. So today, AI is ruling the world. Of course, it is the future technology as well. So AI, also known as artificial intelligence, is a technology which mimics human intelligence. So which mimics human intelligence. So just like we try to analyze something, we try to, I mean, figure out something, or we try to perform something, right? AI also performs the similar kind of actions, provided we train it accordingly, actually. All right, we train it accordingly. Now, AI refers to the computer systems or machines that can perform complex tasks normally done by human reasoning, decision making, creating, etc. So, just like as we human have some kind of cognitive behaviors, right? What is cognitive behaviors, guys? So you can analyze something, you can see something. Okay, so you can even touch something. Fine. So those are some kind of cognitive abilities, actually. So all these kind of things, AI can perform with, accurate training, actually. All right. So now if you ask, so how does AI work, right? So AI actually uses some kind of mathematics and the statistics kind of logics. Okay, so which are purely based on some kind of human cognitive abilities here. So, it can take some kind of decisions actually by analyzing some kind of data, or it can predict some kind of value by looking at the past kind of data. All right. So by proper kind of training and proper kind of experience, right, it could give you better accuracy in figuring out something, in analyzing something. All right. It depends upon how well you're training that kind of model here. In AI terminology, we call it as a model. Any kind of machine or something, we call it as a model. Now, how well you train it, it will give you that kind of accuracy. The better you train it, the better it will give you some kind of accuracy here. All right. So mature AI processes new information extremely quickly and accurately, which makes it useful for complex scenarios such as self-driving cars, image recognition programs, virtual assistants, robotics, etc. So today you see there are a lot of applications of AI where we are able to see that in real world scenarios. All right. It is not just a myth actually. So right away in our childhood days, so when we used to see some kind of, Hollywood movies, right? Okay. So that was a myth actually. But because see, at that point of time, AI was not so advanced actually. Fine. Even in James Bond movies also, we are able to see some kind of different gadgets and different cars. Again, some kind of models here actually. Okay. So that was purely some kind of myth actually. So which was based on some kind of, predictions actually. All right. So based on the predictions and based on the types of advancements or some kind of researches that are going on this field, in this field, right? AI is actually based, or categorized in three different ways, guys. So one is artificial narrow intelligence. Then we have artificial general intelligence, and we have artificial super intelligence. Now let us try to understand what are these things now. Artificial narrow intelligence. So artificial narrow intelligence is some kind of modern AI. We can understand it. Okay, so it is some kind of modern AI where we are using some kind of machine learning and deep learning kind of advancements. Some kind of advanced algorithms, and again we are using it in order to some kind of predictions actually, analyzing some kind of data or some kind of image recognition, and again some kind of bots. Training bots actually. Okay, so we're able to use them in these kind of cases here. So MNC with better training, so it is able to give you some kind of better accuracy. All right. So now, for example, if you look at this one, right? Okay, so we have some kind of different kinds of, examples like, Apple Siri. Okay, so Amazon Alexa. Microsoft Cortana. Again, we have today modern day applications like Chat GPT, and again some other kind of, Google Gemini. Okay, so these are some various different kinds of examples today. Now, on the other hand, if you look at artificial general intelligence, right? So actually the research is being going on in this kind of field. And at present, the AI present situation or the AI present field or the state of AI, the present state of AI is into this kind of stage two. All right. This kind of stage two, where it refers to a computer that is as smart as human across the board here, actually. So some, for example, you see the case of checkers, some kind of game actually. So even IBM actually, again, some other kind of organizations have trained that kind of checkers actually in order to compete human actually. All right. So at some point of time, they were, so they were successful actually. But again, a lot of research is also going on into this kind of fields here. And again, you can also see some kind of films. So Terminator 2 and some other kind of Hollywood movies, which are based on this kind of stage two. Now, again, there is also some other kind of, stage three, which is actually you beyond our human intelligence, actually. All right. So where the machines will take the decisions on its own. And again, okay, so if that stage occurs, so let me tell you, that will be the end of our human mankind, actually. All right. So where machines will rule the world, Terminator 3 and after that one. So what are the for movies and some kind of AI movies came. So they are purely based on this kind of concepts here, actually. All right. So here the machine tries to identify the patterns on its own. It will take some kind of decisions on its own, and it will perform just like humans action. All right. So of course we are at present we are into this kind of stage two only because so if you see the advanced kind of thing or the the extent to which we are successful in this AI field are we are able to see some kind of self-driving cars, autonomous cars here. All right. So again, likewise, some lot of activities are going on into this kind of field here actually. But this is where the machines will try to figure out on its own actually any kind of thing here, any kind of task you take. Fine. So if this, I mean, see, of course, it requires a lot of computational powers, and again, it will take a lot of time actually in order to go into this kind of field here. All right. So, but again, we are into this kind of field, but research is going on to this kind of field. Now, artificial narrow intelligence is where you train some kind of, even if you take some kind of robotics, right? Okay, you're training that robot in a particular environment here. For example, now let's say, for example, so these popular countries like US, India, and some other kind of countries, right? They all have training some kind of robots in war environments here. Now, when it has been trained in war environment, right? Okay, so you can't expect it to work in your kitchen and bring a cup of coffee to you. Because see, it has not been trained in that kind of environment here, in your kitchen here. For example, so what is a cup here? What is a coffee? That one. Okay, so it has not been trained in that one. So that is what the present state of AI we are into actually. So whatever, whatever it has been trained on, it is better in those kind of areas itself actually. So that is the present state of AI we are actually into. Fine. So now let us also try to identify. So as I told you, what are the cognitive abilities of AI? So cognitive abilities of AI, there are few things here, so which you need to understand. So vision here. Now, if you take the case of vision, right? So there are some kind of security devices where, they will scan each and everything. Okay, so like, so for example, your eyes or something, biometric scanners. Okay, so all these are perfect examples of this kind of things here. Speech. Now we are able to speak to our bots, right? Okay, so it could be any kind of bot here. Okay, so like your Siri or some kind of, Google Assistant or any kind of thing here. All right. And again, hearing, bots and AI assistants. Okay, so it will hear something and it will answer you something kind of thing here. Language generation. So today we are able to even search, for example, you take the case of Google search engine. You're able to even search using your own, in your own language also, right? So what are the languages it got trained on actually? So that is some kind of natural language abilities it has been trained on actually. Again, if you take the case of analytical thinking abilities, right? Now we are using it in our real-time data actually. All right. So to uncover the things from the data and in order to find the patterns from the data or trends from the data also. Okay, so we're able to even find out some kind of trends in the data actually. So a lot of tools like if you took it right, modern BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, and these kind of tools here. Okay. So now these tools have came up with a lot of AI abilities actually, AI features here. So where you can easily find out some kind of trends in the data actually. You can even figure out what is happening in the data, and you can, if you ask it something, it will revert back to you with some kind of graph actually. Fine. So natural language processing. So this is the main technology behind your generative AI applications and your chatbots here. And again, memory. So memory actually, so we feed it many different kinds of data actually, relevant data or whatever you call it. Okay. So which it is being trained on actually. Fine. Again, reasoning. So based on all its kind of experiences, right, it can give you some kind of results here. So these are the cognitive abilities of AI that the present state of AI or the different kinds of applications are being trained on actually. So these are only few examples of AI that I'm giving you, but likewise, let me tell you, there are a lot of examples today. So as I told you, the present state of AI or the advancements into this field are, so we are able to, come up with this kind of applications here, self-driving cars, which is autonomous kind of thing, or it's a form of reinforcement learning kind of AI here. All right. So again, we have bots and digital assistants, recommendation systems. All right. So product recommendations, right? Now you go to Amazon and again you purchase some kind of product here. Now you might have seen some kind of things, right? Okay. So people who have purchased this kind of product have also brought this kind of products here. Okay. So that is some kind of recommendations that it is making you. All right. Spam filters, your Gmail spam filters. So how come Gmail is able to, categorize the mails here? So it is based on some kind of keywords actually. All right. Again, search engines. So search engines, beyond search engines also, there is some kind of powerful machine learning algorithm. So where the spiders or crawlers will actually give you the content relevant that you're searching for. And again, smart home technology, health data analysis, robotics. Okay. So these are the few examples of AI today. We are into actually. But again, if you look at the benefits of AI, right? So there are a lot of benefits, of course. Of course, there are also disadvantages of AI. So beyond its use, if you use it actually, so there could be some kind of limitations or there could be some kind of drawbacks also. Fine. So now let us try to understand the AI and its subfields here. So today, if you look at right, AI is just a coin, some kind of keyword actually. So there are a lot of subsets or a lot of sub technologies you can understand. Okay, so which are actually, I mean, if I speak about AI, that means I'm implementing the AI in different ways here actually. Okay, so first of all, let us look at machine learning here. So what is machine learning? So it is a subset of AI and builds a model based on training data to make predictions here. So machine learning is purely based on some kind of data that you train it accordingly. So fine. So for example, if at all you wanted to make some kind of predictions, or for example, if at all you want to come up with some kind of classifications or some kind of clustering on the data, okay. So you have to train it accordingly, I mean. All right. Then again, we have something called as deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning again. So it is a subset of machine learning, a class of ML algorithms to solve complex problems. So what kind of problems it can solve? Deep learning is purely based on artificial neural networks, just like we human brains have the concept of neurons here. All right. So neurons, what are the, okay, so what is neurons here? So we'll also discuss about this kind of thing in very few minutes. I mean, again, we have data science here. So data science is a subset of all these kind of things here. Okay. So it is an area of statistics, scientific methods, etc. to extract meaning and insights from data here. So we apply different kinds of techniques here. For example, let me tell you something. You want to predict something. All right. So it could be some kind of sales, it could be some kind of stock market prediction, or it could be some kind of climate prediction, or it could be any kind of prediction here. All right. So now what are the statistical techniques that you apply? So if you remember in statistics, there is some kind of concept. I mean, okay, so we have some kind of regression kind of concept here. All right. So in our childhood days, we have learned something about this one. I'm not telling the entire things here, something about these kind of concepts here. So every one of us have learned some kind of basic statistics, right? Like measures of central tendencies. Okay, so again mean, median, mode. Okay, so these kind of things, right? So that is the patterns, that is the kind of things we apply, and some kind of regression kind of techniques we apply in order to predict some kind of things here. And again, say, let's say for example, if at all you want to classify something, for example, I want to classify which is mango and which is orange here. All right. So I need to train it accordingly, right? I need to train that machine by giving it some kind of features. What the features, I mean, what are the features of this apple, or what are the features of this mango? Okay, so I mean, how can you differentiate it? I mean, okay, so between the two, I mean, okay, so I need to, I mean, train it accordingly, actually. All right. So there again, if you look at the statistical approaches, right, we involve some kind of hypothesis testing, and again, even in clustering kind of things also, we come up with some kind of hypothesis testing and some other kind of concepts here. So likewise, I mean, so it is a combination of all this kind of ends here. So depending upon the type of outcome that you want, right? Okay, you have to apply with some kind of algorithm here. All right. So we'll be going with some kind of algorithm techniques here. Now again, so now let us look at the case of machine learning. So what is machine learning? In simple terms, I'll tell you what is machine learning here. So machine learning is, I mean, see, it is one of the subsets of AI. So it is the process of using mathematical models of data to help a computer learn without direct instruction here. All right. So what we do here is, so now a machine tries to identify the patterns on in the data actually by some kind of supervision, by some kind of training it actually. Okay. So with its experience, right, it could better give you some kind of decisions actually in a better way, or some kind of better with better accuracy. All right. So with increased data and experience, the results of machine learning are more accurate. So much like how humans improve with more practice here. So just like, see, we humans, I mean, okay, so just like, for example, so when you learn some kind of concept, right? So if you keep on learning that kind of concept, you become familiarized with that kind of concept or topic here, right? So with better experience, right? I mean, so with better accuracy, you can, implement that one. In the similar way, a machine also tries to identify the patterns in the data, or it tries to predict some kind of things here. Okay, so when it has been taught, or when it is being trained in the same kind of manner here. So that is machine learning action. All right. So now again, if you look at the benefits of using, or sorry, so I'm really sorry. All right. So how machine learning is related to AI now? All right. So as we, as we know, machine learning is some kind of subset of AI actually. So it is one of the field of AI. Okay. So where, a machine can identify the patterns of the data by training it some kind. Okay. So what we do here is, one way to train a computer to mimic human reasoning is to use a neural network or some kind of powerful machine learning kind of algorithm in order to perform certain tasks here. All right. So then we try, we look at some kind of examples of machine learning, which we are using it in real world scenarios here. Now, for example, let us take the case of Google search engine. So as I told you, search engine, if you take the case of search engine, right? So, search engine uses some kind of powerful machine learning algorithm. So whatever you search it, right, it is based on some kind of keyword pattern. So based on the keyword pattern, right? So it will look out for the relevant websites. I mean, so based upon whatever your search for actually, whatever you're asking for. So in the background, some kind of spiders or some kind of crawlers will, so it will try to identify the patterns. Okay. And it will try to give you the relevant websites based on some kind of page relevancy or some kind of page ranks or something. All right. So this is how the search engine works here. Now, facial recognition. Facial recognition is used to identify people. So this is some kind of powerful machine learning kind of algorithms or neural network kind of algorithm. Okay, so where I mean it is used in some kind of security applications today. All right, product recommendations now. So product recommendations are some kind of search engine. Some, for example, if you take the case of recommendation systems, all right, so e-commerce portals or any kind of retail kind of things here. Okay, so they're used to suggest you some kind of items. I mean, so based on upon what are the products history or product searches you are having actually. Again, email automation. So email automation, let us take the case of your Gmail. I mean, so Gmail is able to identify or classify the mails. I mean, so and again, it will send you that those mails directly to your inbox or to your spam kind of folders here. So again, there is some kind of machine learning feature involved in that one. So it identifies the keywords actually in the mail, actually in the mail body and then the mail subject actually. Okay. So based upon those keywords, right, it will automatically send that to your inbox or either to your spam folder. And again, financial accuracy and fraud detection. So especially if you take today banking systems, so they are using machine learning features in order to track some kind of fraud detection or I mean various kind of things here, credit card fraud detection or loan, fraud detections or something. Okay, so they are identifying, they are using this ML features in order to come up with such kind of predictions actually. And again, social media optimization. Social media optimization also based upon the users. I mean, okay, so they are also coming up with different kinds of things here where I mean it was automatically tracks what kind of post it is and again what kind of okay, so things you're actually putting onto your social media feed here. And again, healthcare. So today a lot of advancements also came up, even not only in US, I mean even in India also, where if you see this large big hospitals, right, they're using this ML and AI kind of features actually in order to detect some kind of patterns in just like in cancer or some kind of diabetes or some other kind of heart diseases or some other kind of things here. And again, speech recognition. So speech recognition, again, if you look at here, so this is also one other kind of area where machine learning is used in real world environments. Autonomous vehicles. Now today if you look at Tesla, right, okay, so we're able to see that one Tesla. Now we can in India also some research has been came up actually. So even we are also able to, come up with this kind of driverless car kind of concept here. All right. So these are the practical real world applications, guys, where this technology is being implemented here. So it is not a myth anymore, actually. So we're able to use it right now in our real world environments here. And if you take the case of machine learning techniques, right? So how this machine learning is able to, give you this kind of accuracy or this kind of output, right? It is actually based on three different kinds of learning patterns here. Okay, so one we call it as a supervised learning, the other one we call it as unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. So what are this supervised learning? What are this again unsupervised learning is? In simple ways, again I'll tell you. Supervised learning is where you, you train the data with your supervision actually. Okay, you train, for example, let me tell you now in other simple words here. So for example, what is supervised learning here? What exactly is supervised learning? Now, for example, now, there is some kind of model. We call it as a model actually. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the square of the numbers here. So for example, I write in this way. So f of x equal to x square here. For example, so this is some kind of model here. All right. Now, for example, I manually feed it some kind of data here. Okay. So based upon this kind of formula, right, it will automatically give me it is 4 here. All right. You people know this one. Now, similarly, I train it, I give it some other kind of number. And again, it comes up with some kind of, again, answer to that one. Likewise, what I do it, okay, so I train it on different kinds of data here. All right, different kinds of data. And finally, my model will be very, experienced here. Okay, so it will learn the patterns. So whatever you're training it, right, it will learn on the patterns. Okay, so whatever you're training it actually, and automatically it will come up with such kind of prediction here actually. So this is what machine learning or supervised learning, actually goes on. You explicitly train that particular model in some kind of aspect here. All right. So it could be anything here. Fine. So I've just given you some kind of example. So it could be some kind of feeding that particular day, model with some kind of data so that you want to come up with some kind of prediction here, or you want to come up with some kind of classification in the data. All right. So likewise, you train it accordingly. Fine. Now you know what is the outcome also here. Okay. So train it accordingly. But again, unsupervised learning is something where you do not know what is the outcome actually. So the unsupervised learning algorithms will try to identify the patterns on its own. Okay, so it will try to identify what are the relationships in the data actually, what are the patterns that are going on in the data, and it will come up with some kind of results like what is this kind of object about. All right. So say for example, I can feed it some kind of, information like which is cat and which is dog here. If I properly, give it some kind of information, right? It can better give me or it can suggest me that this is cat and this is dog here. Likewise. And again, reinforcement learning is where, we do not have any kind of outcome, we do not have any kind of data. So, the machine will try to identify or will learn, based on its experiences purely in that environment here. So, some examples of this one are robots actually. So now you see robots, so which are employed in warehouses here. Of course, so the defense sector is also using robots now, so that is a different thing. So as I told you, so they are trained on that particular aspect here. And again, as I told you, now do not expect that robot to work in your kitchen. So like as I told you, some kind of example here. So likewise, so in a warehouse or in some kind of factories or in some kind of big, huge industrial kind of things, right? Okay, robots are being employed in order to perform certain task here, perform particular task here. All right. So that is a perfect example of reinforcement learning. Now, how machine learning, solves this kind of problem is there is some kind of process here actually. Okay, so we try to feed it some kind of data, we train it actually, we train it on different aspects here. Again, we try to evaluate that particular model before we come to a conclusion actually. Now, if you look at some kind of this process, right? So what we do here is you take some kind of data here. You know what is the data about actually. You feed it that kind of data to this particular model here. We call it as a model. All right. And based on some kind of algorithm, right, you train that particular data actually. All right. You train it, so you tell that f of x equal to x square. You train it by giving different kinds of numbers actually. Then what you do, you evaluate it with some other kind of unknown kind of data. So for example, now you are trained with multiple numbers here. Now, for example, randomly, what I'll do, I'll give it some kind of number, whether it is able to learn or whether it is able to give me some kind of answer or not. If it is able to give you, that means it is a better model here. If it is not, then you have to again train it, on different other kind of things here. So finally, it will give you some kind of accurate response here. So that is what is the supervised machine learning model here. So that means you exclusively train it, okay, so by using some kind of data here. And now, if you look at the unsupervised machine learning process, right? So what we do here is now the machine will try to identify the patterns here by, feeding it some kind of data. So again, using some kind of powerful algorithm kind of features, right? It will try to find the patterns in that particular data. Now there will be some kind of patterns, right? For example, so what is apple and what is mango? So there'll be some kind of differences here. Now apple will be, for example, it will be some kind of red in color or some kind of green in color. Now, mango, again, it will be purely yellow or some kind of slightly yellowish kind of color here. All right. So likewise, it will detect some kind of differences or it will detect some kind of patterns in the data. And then it will try to identify those kind of patterns here. And it again, it will give you what is apple and what is mango. Likewise. Fine. Now, so now that was about machine learning kind of patterns here. Okay, so supervised learning, unsupervised learning kind of formats here. Now, on the other hand, so if you look at the deep learning kind of aspects, right? So today, deep learning is actually used in different environments here. It's especially your image recognition. Like, so for example, speech, audio kind of things here. Okay, so in those kind of applications, we are able to see deep learning kind of things here. Now, for example, when Google search engine was first launched in the market, right? It had only some kind of simple search engine kind of feature. It didn't add voice. Later on, they came up with voice, and now you can also search it with some kind of image also, right? So, for example, if I show you here, you can see you can search this one using your voice or using some kind of this kind of image also. So previously it was not there, this kind of feature was not there. Even we didn't have this kind of feature when first Google search engine was launched in the market actually. Fine. So later on with this some kind of advancements in the technology, right? So they came up with such kind of features here. And again, Google also has implemented different kinds of AI features in its different product suites actually. So, for example, if you take the case of Google Translator, right, it can easily tell you, based on one kind of language, you can even try to understand into your native kind of language also. All right. Now, deep learning is some kind of technology which is especially based on some kind of human neurons here. All right, the human brain neurons in the human brain here. So just like we have neurons, right, which actually signals us, I mean, which gives us different kinds of signals, or which is the main reason. So, I mean, in order to perform certain task or in order to give us specific signals here. In the same way, I mean, so artificial neural networks is some kind of concept where this deep learning technology is based on. Now, if you remember, in our childhood days, how we able to learn actually? So, I mean, we were able to see, for example, every one of us have learned in the same kind of way, right? Like, for example, A for apple, A for apple, A for apple. So what you do here, you constantly or consistently learn that kind of things, right? So by that one, what happens is we are sending some kind of signal to your human brain actually. All right. So your human brain is able to identify that particular thing or that particular object here. So for example, what is A? So immediately it comes to in your mind that A is for apple actually. Fine. Before even you can understand, I mean, so A is also some other kind of things here. So we were able to learn in the such kind of way here. So here also your deep learning technology actually works in the same kind of way here. You continuously feed it some kind of data actually, and through its powerful kind of deep learning kind of algorithms, right? Okay, so it will try to identify the patterns in the data. I mean, again, it will try to identify what exactly this is. So because of its hidden layers, I mean, so we call it as powerful, classification kind of model. So, which also call as layers or hidden features here. So it is used in different kinds of modern day applications today. So for example, in your security kind of applications or even in your autonomous driving vehicles. Now, when you go with autonomous driving vehicle, right, Tesla cars, I mean, first of all, it will identify what is that object here. It could be some kind of person, or it could be some kind of, some kind of other kind of motor vehicle also passing. Fine. So it will try to identify what kind of object it is. I mean, okay. So that is the kind of technology. I mean, so this actually works. I mean, so there are some kind of powerful features that we train it accordingly. So that is the reason. So if you look at this deep learning algorithms, right? Okay, so they are used in some kind of powerful kind of examples or some kind of features here. So for example, image, speech and video processing kind of things, chatbots, personal digital assistants here, game playing actually. Okay, so robotics, control or security systems, tailored experience in the sense. Now, for example, let me tell you what is tailored experiences here. Now, if you see Netflix, right? So you'll be having some kind of Netflix account with you. Now, Netflix is able to recommend you some kind of web series based upon your interest, right? So whichever the series you're following or whichever the series you're watching continuously, okay, so it will recommend you those kind of, movies or some kind of series here. So that is some kind of tailored experiences for you. Similarly, in retail also or in e-commerce platforms, what happens is based upon your search history or based upon the products you're liking, right? Okay, so it will recommend you some kind of products in the same way actually. All right. So that is tailored experiences here. All right. Again, self-driving cars here, as I told you. So these are all the modern day kind of applications. Now, if you look at the differences between this machine learning and deep learning, right? In machine learning, you exclusively identify the features and you exclusively tell the application or tell the model that these are the features you need to understand. You train it accordingly, you train it consistently. Only then it could give you, I mean, only then it could come up with some kind of better accuracy. But here it is not that one. See, your deep learning model is such a way that it has some kind of inbuilt extraction features and classification kind of models here. Okay. So where it will, take that kind of features, it will identify the patterns, it will identify the features on its own. And again, it will come up with some kind of better accuracy. So that is why they say that, deep learning has some kind of better accuracy compared to machine learning actually. All right. It is not always all the case, but again, these features have some kind of better accuracy than compared to this model. Because the reason is, now if you ask me what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning, right? Deep learning, so machine learning could able to give you the accuracy or the outcome only when you train it exclusively based on that particular data. So, for example, when you train it on some kind of wrong data, right? How can you expect some kind of, outcome here? Not right. Okay. So likewise, so your machine learning depends upon what kind of data that you're training it. And again, how much you're training it. Accordingly, what kind of features you're training it actually. So it could give you the answers based on only that kind of patterns here. But deep learning is not like that due to the, for example, the concepts of this neural networks, right? It will try to find out the patterns on its own and it will come to a conclusion as to what kind of thing it is actually. All right. So that is how this, this some kind of difference between this machine learning and deep learning kind of things here. And again, now, what is generative AI? So today you are able to see this kind of concept, right? Generative AI. Now, everywhere we are today, I mean, so chat GPT. Okay, so you're able to, hear about all this kind of things here. So likewise, I mean, every popular big tech company has their own kind of, LLM model. So traditionally, we call them as LLM model, large language model. All right. So they have given it some kind of buzzword called as generative AI. So generative AI, what is generative AI based on? Especially what is generative AI? Generative AI is nothing but where you generate something by using this AI features here. All right. So generative AI, it's very simple. You generate something using AI. So what you generate here, what it is generating? Fine. It is able to generate some kind of text here. It is generating some kind of image here, audio, video, code, etc. So for example, there are a lot of applications today. Fine. So from OpenAI and Microsoft, we have ChatGPT. From Microsoft own tool, we have Microsoft Copilot. All right. So you can look at this one in your laptop also. You might be having this kind of, a browser, right? So for example, now this is some kind of Copilot here. So you ask it something, it will give you something. Or you ask it to generate some kind of code, it will generate you some kind of code here. So for example, uh, okay, uh, write a Python program to add two numbers. For example, I'm typing it simply. Okay. Now it will come up with some kind of answer here. Okay. So it will generate you some kind of result here. All right. Now, how it is able to generate you? Now we'll also try to identify this kind of things here. Likewise, you ask it something, it is able to give you some kind of thing. But again, do understand that everything it can't give you. All right, everything also it can't give you. Now it can even see, it can only give you or it can suggest you only few things here. It can give you some kind of images, it can generate you some kind of code here, it can give you some kind of text here. All right. So only this kind of information it can help you with. Fine. On the other hand, if you, for example, if you ask it any complex kind of things, it can't answer here. All right. So now this modern day application or this kind of things, right? How it got, uh, very popular here. Let me tell you now. So, by the advancements of this modern AI, right? What is modern AI? I told you something. So, we'll be learning this about these things, right? Okay. No, we had traditional AI, traditional AI. Again, we are having modern AI. And now we are able to learn something about generative AI. All right. The traditional AI was purely some kind of so rule or some kind of set of rule based kind of formats here. Rule based formats. Okay. Now, what about the modern day AI? So, modern day AI or modern AI. Okay. So, where it is nothing but it is some kind of machine learning, deep learning kind of features here. All right. Now, generative AI is something so which is combination of all these things here actually. All right. Which is combination of all these things, especially now where we are able to use it in some kind of user, content way actually. So, for example, generative AI is a form of artificial intelligence in which models are trained to generate new original content based on natural language input. So, if you look at this one, right? So, your generative AI is nothing but it is a combination of all this kind of platforms here. NLP, I can call it as natural language processing. All right. So, because see, these models, these generative AI models are based on some kind of LLMs. The language behind this one is called as LLMs, large language models here. We call it as large language models. And now these are actually trained on some advanced deep learning methodologies. All right. So it refers to the use of AI to create new content like text, images, music, audio, videos. And when apart from this one, if you ask it some other kind of things, so it can't suggest you, it can't tell you anything here. All right. And again, see, let me also tell you very clearly, it is actually based on the prompt that you are giving. Now, for example, what is prompt here? So whatever I've typed here, right? Okay, so this is some kind of prompt here. Now, if you ask it clearly, only then it can give you some clear answers here. Fine. So, for example, if you ask it in a different way, right, it even can't suggest you better things here. All right. So that is about this one. So how do you prompt it? Okay. Prompt engineering, we call it as, right? How do you prompt it? Okay. So it can understand whatever you're whatever you're asking, right? It can understand only through the case of prompts here. All right. And those prompts are actually based on this kind of technology, NLP and advanced deep learning kind of technologies here. All right. So people typically interact with generative AI using prompts that has been built into chat applications here. So popularly, we are able to use these generative applications through some kind of chat applications like this Chat GPT, Microsoft Copilot, or some other kind of Google Gemini. Okay, so these kind of applications here. So some popular examples of such applications are Chat GPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, and AI-powered productivity tools designed to enhance your work experience by providing real-time intelligence and assistance here. Fine. So now we have looked at what is generative AI. So let us try to understand the language behind this generative AI, or which we also call it as LLMs here. All right. Large language models here. So especially the modern day applications or the generative AI things are actually based on this LLMs kind of models here. So these LLMs are actually based on some kind of NLP features and again some kind of deep learning kind of features here. So, I mean, how this able to give you this kind of answers is these generative AI applications are trained on billions of parameters here. Now, what is a parameter? What is parameter here? For example, I told you what is apple and what is mango. Now, a machine will try to identify the differences between them actually. So, apple has some kind of red color. That is one kind of parameter. Now, again, it has some other kind of parameter called as green color. Likewise. So, likewise, I train it with different kinds of aspects here. So, these generative AI models are actually trained on billions or even trillions of data, which are publicly available. All right. So publicly available. Fine. So now when they are able to train on this, these vast amounts of data, right? Now they're able to give you, I mean, the content that you're asking it for actually. So if I ask it to write me some kind of cover letter or some kind of resume, right? It will even suggest me some kind of things here because it has already been trained on that particular parameters here. All right. So large language models use deep learning to process and understand natural language on a massive scale here. Guys, just give me a minute. I'm sorry. So So we are discussing about the LLMs, right? So now let us try to identify what are the differences between this traditional AI, modern AI, and generative AI kind of things here. Now let me tell you something. As I told you, traditional AI refers to the early stages of artificial intelligence with its origins in 1950s when Alan Turing introduced the concept of machine learning. All right. So he actually, I mean, coined this term machine learning. So at this point of time, we had this kind of format. So this machine learning was purely based on some kind of rule-based systems here. So as I told you, okay, I will. Fine. So now at that point of time, as I told you, we did not had enough computing powers or we did not have even large amounts of data to train also. So likewise, traditional AI was purely based on some particular format here. Okay, so for example, if you take the case of calculator, right? So it can give you some kind of simple calculations here. All right. So now it has been trained on only that kind of format here, for example. All right. Now, on the other hand, right, if you look at the modern AI, right, modern AI. So modern AI, because of the advancements into this kind of field like machine learning and deep learning kind of things, right? Now, modern AI is being used in different set of fields, different domains here, because we are able to use this modern day AI or modern AI kind of things into different, I mean, applications today. So you can use it to train your AI models. You can use it to identify the patterns in the data. You can use it in some kind of security systems. You can use it to identify some kind of predictions here or to detect some kind of images, okay, scan something or identify some kind of things here. Okay, so these are the things here. But again, generative AI is purely, I mean, okay, so it is some kind of different kind of thing where it is able to generate you something. All right. So what it can generate here? It can generate only some kind of simple text or some kind of audio, video kind of formats here, some kind of code here. I mean, okay, not more than that one. So it can help you with this kind of things here. So for example, you go somewhere wrong in your code, for example. So it can suggest you some kind of ways. Okay, so where you're going actually. So that is why now if you look at this Microsoft Copilot, right? In all the Microsoft applications, they have integrated this Copilot here. It will, I mean, see, it will help you where you're going wrong. And again, it will also tell you, I mean, so it will even suggest you some kind of ways to better come up with some kind of application models here. So that is how it has been trained on actually. So these LLM models, whether you take it Google Gemini, whether it is Chat GPT or whether it is R1, DeepSeek R1 today. So that is the latest kind of generative AI model, right? DeepSeek R1. So even see, if you look at that particular model, they have told that, I mean, so they are able to, I mean, even train that particular models on some kind of billion parameters and with some kind of limited kind of, I mean, features or some other kind of things here. They told, I mean, okay. Now, so all these are being trained on this kind of applications only. So data is the real fuel here actually. Okay. So without data, I mean, so you can't, I mean, it can't give us any kind of things here. Fine. So even for example, you take the case of the chat GPT. Now, for example, Microsoft Copilot also. So for example, in order to give you this kind of data, right, it has actually been trained on this kind of data. Otherwise, this would have not been given this kind of concept here actually. All right. So that is what you need to understand. So with the rise of this technological advancements and even I mean if you look at the different times here, the evolution of AI was into this one. So startingly we had this kind of traditional AI. Now we have this modern AI, so where we are able to use this machine learning and deep learning, and again now generative AI. So in coming days, I mean, so you could see some kind of rise in some kind of quantum computing and AI. So I mean AI is also coming into those kind of things here, quantum computing. So where again that particular kind of models will be used in some kind of large scale applications here again. So research is also going on into that kind of state actually. So if you look at some of the popular LLMs, right? So generative AI tools here. So from OpenAI, we have this GPT-4, GPT-3, GPT 3.5. So which are the latest? GPT-4 is the latest actually. And DALI is some kind of, I mean, model where it is used to used in some kind of image generations here, images. I mean, from Google family, so we have Gemini, which is the latest one. So it is one of the popular tool they have actually. Again, before that, they had some kind of Bard, BERT, and some kind of Palm, two kind of things here. From Microsoft, they have 5.3. I mean, this was actually the model behind small language models. So now we are able to see large language models, right? Again, we are having small language models here. Okay, so that is different story. From Meta, we are having Llama, Grok, I mean, so which is Elon Musk company. So XAI. So Grok is some kind of, I mean, you can understand this is some kind of AI model, generative AI model. So it is from XAI, which is again Elon Musk. I mean, okay. Hugging Face, I mean, Bloom. Mistral AI, you have this Mistral AI models here. Anthropic, you have Claude, I mean, so which are popularly used today in different applications here. So these are the different AI tools. I mean, see, these are not the only generative AI tools, but I mean, I've taken only the popular kind of things which are used in real world scenarios here. All right. So finally, you need to understand something. So we have discussed the various aspects of this one. Now, okay, let me tell you. Now, in order to learn this kind of things, right? So you need to have some kind of, I mean, skill sets here. All right. So, for example, now I'll tell you in simple ways here. So, why you need to have different kinds of skill sets here. First of all, in order to train this kind of models, you need to have some kind of programming abilities here. So, where we'll be actually learning some kind of Python kind of concepts here, Python programming. And again, in this Python programming, so you'll be coming up with different kinds of concepts. I mean, okay, so about programming and again, data analysis kind of concepts here. Okay, so we have some popular, I mean, packages like or libraries like NumPy, Pandas. I mean, okay, so coming to the visualizations, we're having Matplotlib, Seaborn, and again, machine learning, we're having scikit-learn. Okay, so all this kind of things here. Now, as I told you, say for example, I want to predict some kind of things here. So for which you require some kind of advanced statistical kind of concepts here. So there we require some kind of regression techniques here. Regression techniques here. Okay. Now, so we'll be learning this kind of regression techniques here in order to predict something. So these are used for predictions here. Predictions here. And again, let's say, for example, again, in order to classify certain things, right? Again, we are having some other kind of patterns here. Okay, some other kind of, like, say, for example, algorithms here. So, your logistic regression, and again, you have some other kind of unsupervised learning kind of things here. Okay, so where they are used for some kind of classification and again, clustering kind of concepts here. So what I mean to say is, see, you need to have a varied skill sets here. Fine, in order to become some kind of data scientist or machine learning engineer, in order to work in this kind of field here. Let me also show you some kind of contents that I've designed here actually. So, I mean, it will give you the all the modern day kind of application suite actually. So let me show you that. Fine. So if you look at this, so artificial intelligence, machine learning, and generative AI program. So again, we are also using cloud here because see nowadays everything is implemented and deployed on cloud. So you can reap a lot of benefits by even learning the cloud kind of concepts also. So where we'll be using some kind of Azure and some few concepts about AWS kind of things. So all this kind of things here. So in 3 months, so you'll be completely learning about the machine learning kind of models and how to deploy them on Azure cloud. So what are the things that you'll be learning? So I've given you in a detailed way. So first thing is you'll be learning something about the Python for this AI and ML. So like Python programming and Python for data science or machine learning kind of things here. And for data analysis kind of things. So where you will be learning some kind of packages like NumPy, Pandas, okay, so Matplotlib, Seaborn, all this kind of things here. And again, so we'll be having something on statistics and EDA, exploratory data analysis. So where you will be learning or exploring some details into some kind of statistical models actually. So apart from not only the, basic statistics here, we'll also be learning something about the inferential statistical part like hypothesis testing, central limit theorem, and those kind of concepts, which will be helpful for you in machine learning kind of aspects here. After this, so we'll be exploring the different, machine learning algorithms here. So both supervised and unsupervised kind of models here. So again, see, what is the machine learning process here? So what is supervised machine learning and what is unsupervised learning? And again, what are the different algorithms here? So how you basically apply some kind of algorithm on a data. And again, so what is that you look for in the data and how come you can come to a conclusions as to which kind of algorithm you need to apply on the data. So all these things will be, learning in this kind of things here. So right from training something, and again coming with some kind of evaluation models, and again, as I told you, model tuning and performance, all these things will be taught to you here. And again, deep learning. So where you will be focusing especially on this computer vision, artificial neural networks, and again NLP. And after that, will be diving into some kind of artificial intelligence and generative AI kind of concepts here. Then you will be having some kind of hands-on kind of scenarios here. Okay. So Azure AI Engineer Associate. So this course is also on par with the certification, cloud kind of certifications today, which have high demand in the market. All right. So whether you take it AWS or Azure, any kind of things you take it, okay, any kind of cloud here. So popularly there are two clouds here, AWS and Azure. All right. So in Azure, you're having AI engineer associate and again AI data scientist, Azure data scientist also. So this will help you to crack those kind of certifications as well. Fine. So we'll be completely diving deep into this Azure kind of cloud here. So where you will be developing not only these generative AI applications, also about this AI engineer associate kind of things here. So especially machine learning, NLP, and deep learning kind of applications here. That is purely AI kind of things here. So that you will be learning. Okay. Now coming to the case of hands-on real-time project scenarios, right? So as I told you, we'll be completely working on cloud here. Even before to cloud also, I'll show you some various applications on scikit-learn, Python scikit-learn, on how you can implement this ML models here. And the same thing, how you can deploy them on cloud here, Azure cloud. So what is Azure AI services here? How these are helpful to you? So there is a features of auto ML also. So not only auto ML is a concept where it will help you or it will, there are predefined models here, pre-built models also we call it as, okay. So now, right, in machine learning, what you do, right away you train it completely, right? So already this is a trained kind of model. You can use it for your purposes actually. Okay. So if it fits to your model, right, you can use it them. Okay. Auto ML. Now, how to use those kind of features here? Apart from that one, how to even develop your own models here on Azure Cloud. And again, there are a lot of other kind of deep learning kind of features here, very beautiful features Azure is having. Okay. So again, how to even implement this kind of generative AI kind of applications, everything you will be learning completely here. So which will give you really complete hands-on on the all these kind of things here. And whether when it comes to the case of real world projects, right? Real-time projects, real world projects, whatever you call it. Okay. So I've taken it from different domains here because I do not want to restrict all these kind of things only into one particular domain. So how you can use them in different kinds of domains here. So for example, if you take the case of retail here, so how you can use the statistics and EDA and again in order to analyze such kind of models here. And again, if it is loan prediction model, okay, so again, immigrant visa prediction model. So this is also some of the immigration kind of models. So how they're using ML practices here. Credit card churn prediction. Again, retail and e-commerce product review analysis using generative AI, not only machine learning. So how you can implement generative AI also. Here again, how you can train your generative AI model. So how you can come up with such kind of things here. And again, movie recommendation systems, Fortune Auto Wheels data analysis. So in automotive industry, how the data analysis is actually done, and again some kind of RAG applications, which are the modern day kind of applications, or at some kind of advanced applications in generative AI RAG applications. And again, DAL-E, as I told you, how you can generate images, okay, so based on this kind of generative AI models here. So all these are complete set of real world projects which will make you stand out, okay, so in the job market here. So let me tell you now, if you're, see, have put down projects in such a way that, so you can build your portfolio with all the things here. Okay. So that means, see, you'll be actually working on all the aspects here. So you'll be working on regression models, classification models, clustering, and again, generative AI models, and again, statistical kind of models. When you have all these things, right, let me tell you, who is going to stop you from getting a job here? Fine. So you can easily stand out from, okay, so the job crowd in the job market here. Okay. Then post this kind of courses, right? So which is very, very important as to what you'll get in are from R&D here actually. Okay. So how does we support you? Okay. So, see, all the real-time interview questions and answers. So, till up to date here. So, because we're having students, so not only from India, rest of the world here, from US, Canada, and again, Middle East, and again, Europe, and again, Australia. All right. So, there are even my students who are working as data scientists, data engineers, in reputed organizations. So, they can help you out, with different kinds of, things here. And again, so mock interviews or placement assistance, if you wish to avail here. And again, if you even wish to write this kind of certifications, right, which are, which will stand out you. Okay. So again, your portfolio is very, very important. Portfolio means, so what kind of projects you're putting in your resume. And again, so resume, how you need to project yourself here. Okay. So, see, today again, even hiring managers also, they're using some kind of AI kind of bots here in order to scan some kind of resumes here, screen some kind of resumes here. Okay. So even if they do it, so how you can project yourself, and again, how you can make your profile stand out in the market. So it will give you some kind of lot of calls or lot of, connections from them. All right. Again, as I told you, see, today hiring managers are not only just relying on the traditional job portals, they're also looking at some kind of LinkedIn profiles also. LinkedIn profile is also playing a vital role today. All right. So LinkedIn has become some kind of important thing. Okay. So in the professional network, actually. Okay. So, even I will also tell you how you can project yourself onto LinkedIn platform. And again, so again, on job support also. So once you get any kind of job, if you feel any kind of stuck anywhere, so you can reach out to us. So we're having a large network here. Okay. So, someone or the other person will help you out. Okay. So after this course, right, what are the target jobs you can apply for is? So see, let me tell you, one kind of job which you can easily get is data analyst. So but that is not our target job here. So our job is some kind of machine learning kind of engineer, data scientist, generative AI engineer, Azure cloud AI ML engineer, okay, or simply AI engineer. Okay, so these are our target jobs here. So, but as I told you, this AI data analyst kind of job, so very simply you can get it because by learning all this kind of concepts, right, you can easily gain a lot of advantage with different set of tools that we, implement here. So program outcomes is, so you could easily become familiar with all this kind of tools here. You can come up, okay, you can easily secure some kind of top jobs and some kind of top companies today, because see, wherever you go, so these technologies are like there are a lot of openings on this one. Okay, I'll also show you the other kind of things here. Now, if you look at the salaries part, right? So salaries is also, so there are very good salaries in India and even abroad actually. Okay. So in India, you can, the highest package, so you can go up to 50 LPA starting as some kind of fresher or some kind of thing. But again, it requires a lot of, learning, a lot of experience here. Okay. So experience in the sense you need to be familiar with a lot of concepts here. So, but let me show you some kind of recent article, World Economic Forum, right? Future jobs. Okay, so WEF 2025. I'll show you this one. So World Economic Forum, which was held last month, January. All right. So in Davos, Switzerland, right? Okay. So now they came up with such kind of report here. Okay. So let me click here. Future of Jobs Report 2025. The jobs of the future and the skills you need to get them. See the date here. Okay. So this was actually last month itself. They had this one. Okay. So I mean, so this is what I want to show you. Some jobs are growing fast in percentage terms. Demand for roles driven by technological advancements such as artificial intelligence is quickly increasing. These jobs include big data specialists, fintech engineers, and AI and machine learning specialists. Right? So now you can understand the trend or the demand. Okay, so you got into this kind of field here. Fine, of course, see, now all of you people know AI is the future, right? So now you can understand the demand for this one. And of course, even the World Economic Forum are also stating that, I mean, so in the coming days, I mean, so you people will be much into demand because of the trend that is going on. All right. So now, because see, let me tell you guys. So this year, I mean, starting from this last year itself, we had actually from last year itself, we had, I mean, lot of jobs for data engineering, data science, machine learning kind of things, and it will, the trend is even rising like anything now. All right. So you could see the trend here, understand the demand here. Fine. And again, see what are the skill set that you require. I've already shown you, I mean. Okay. So again, let me tell you now, skills are important here rather than certifications here. Okay, so people think that I mean, so by merely passing some kind of certifications, I mean that would suffice their requirement actually, but that is not true. Skills are very, very important here. In order to stand in the job market, in order to get some huge pay packages, right? What is your dream package? You might be having some kind of dream package. Okay, so you require to work accordingly, and again, you need to build up your profile accordingly, and again, you need to project yourself accordingly. All right, you need to have the required skill sets here, and we here are here to help you, I mean, in different ways here. All right, so that is what I can tell you about. If you take the previous courses like data engineering, so we are a huge hit in the market actually, so you can even check the reviews of our institute, I mean, Sriman IT. So I mean, okay, and let me not boast about myself also because I'm having a lot of my students also across the globe. Last year, we had almost all 28 candidates who are placed in data engineering and ML kind of roles here across the globe. I mean, okay, 28 students. I mean, fine. Okay, so that's it, guys. So that is what I wanted to tell you. And again, okay, so any questions, please, you can ask me. So I hope you got some kind of understanding, right? What is ML, what is AI, what is deep learning, and what is generative AI? Okay. So now if you have any questions, sir, how do I join this training program? Please, Abhinav, contact Mr. Sridhar. So he's the person who will contact you. Need not worry. Sridhar, Sridhar, please kindly drop in your email ID or any kind of numbers you have. Okay, so that I mean, so these people will reach out to you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, okay, sir.
Fine, fine. So any other questions, guys? Please, I mean, I'm happy to receive your questions. I mean, okay, if you have any doubts here. So today you can earn like anything. It was not unlike our batch actually. So when we were passed out, I mean, our salary was very low actually. But today companies are ready to shell out like anything because of the rise into this field actually. And I mean, if you have the required skill set, right, you can, I mean, your demand can skyrocket like anything. So that is the advantage you people are having today. At our point of time, I mean, so when we are passed out, we have only few technologies actually. So we had some kind of .NET, I mean Java, these were the traditional technologies we worked on actually. But today you're having the latest cutting edge tools and technologies. Fine. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? So this course would be completely hands-on kind of practical based kind of things. Okay. So it is not any theoretical concept that I need to show you because everything is practically driven. And again, I need to show you by implementing it practically. Any doubts, any questions? So let me know, are you any people, any of you are working in real world scenarios on AI, ML, any kind of thing, data engineering, data science, BI, any one of you? Okay, okay. Anything else, guys? So all these are taken from the net only, these images. I'm not, I have not designed this or anything. So you can see the skills, I mean, so which are into demand, which have been given by World Economic Forum just recently. So AI and big data, so that will be the core part because data is very important today. Okay, so any kind of organization you take, they have vast amounts of data with them. Now that is the reason you people are into demand. Is there any certificate what this workshops are? Let me tell you, I mean, see, certificate in the sense, I mean, so they can give you, that's not a problem. But if you're asking any other kind of technical certification, yes, of course, we do have. And apart from that one, so AI and big data, I mean, so you also have this networking and cybersecurity, which is the other kind of part of this IT domain. So these two will anything, I mean, okay, so again, it will be leading like anything. But again, you can see the advancements into this kind of field here, AI and big data. All right. So you guys can check out this one, guys. I mean, so this is only a Zoom link. I mean, okay. So, uh, Sridhar also provide your mobile number or the institute contact number, something. So they will reach out to you directly.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So you can see this one, guys, and so take your wise decision, guys. That is what I can tell you. Okay. So guys, check the chat windows. You can note down that number. I mean, so you can directly reach to them. So we also have some kind of internship kind of things into this. I mean, field here, AI, data science internship kind of batches as well. So where you can take advantage of this one. So it is a paid one where, okay, Sauron, it is a paid one actually. Fine. Any questions? Okay, so I hope you people have understood. Fine. So thank you, everyone. In case any other questions, any final questions before I wind up the session, so you may ask me. No questions? Okay, then fine. So see you guys. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you all.